Ready to dive into some money talk? We're tackling Just Keep Buying today by Nick McGillie. He really digs into how we build wealth. Should be interesting.
Definitely. It's full of these data-driven strategies, looking at how saving and investing work together, at different points in your life.
Right, it's not just about saving every penny, what like some people might think. In fact, he starts off with a pretty bold statement. Saving is for the poor. Investing is for the rich. That one made me pause.
Oh yeah, that definitely grabs your attention. But before everyone freaks out, it's important to remember he's not, making a judgment call here. What he's really talking about is where your effort makes the biggest difference depending on what's going on in your life. If you're just starting out, that extra dollar you earn could be more important than stressing about tiny investment fees.
So if you're early in your career, even making decent money, boosting your income matters more than obsessing over investment options. Makes sense, but it's not what we usually hear.
It's counterintuitive, for sure. McGillie has this great analogy. He talks about the Dolly Varden char. It's this fish that changes what it eats depending on what's available. Plenty of food, it feasts. Scarce, it adjusts. And our finances are kind of like that, too. Early on, max out your income. Then as you build wealth, that's when your investment strategy can change, too.
So how do we figure out where we land on this whole save-invest spectrum?
He's got this simple calculation in the book. It compares how much your savings are expected to grow versus your investments. Really makes you think because it shows you where your energy should be, on saving or investing right now at this moment.
Super practical. And speaking of practical, what about saving? You always hear that rule. Save 20% of your income no matter what. But McGillie doesn't totally agree with that, does he?
Nope. He's all about the data. And it turns out that consistently saving, even if it's not that magic 20%, matters more than sticking to a fixed number. Life's unpredictable. Sometimes saving a smaller amount consistently is better than being broke trying to hit that 20%.
Makes you think of that story about Dennis and the Uber surge pricing, right?
Mm.
Perfect example.
Oh, Dennis. Hilarious and insightful. For those who haven't heard it, this guy, Dennis, was obsessed with saving, so much so that he tried to outsmart Uber's surge pricing.
By dropping his pickup in the middle of the San Francisco Bay.
You got it. Of course, total disaster. Ended up with a huge bill on New Year's Eve.
Sounds too crazy to be true. But it's more than just Dennis and his choices, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's about how focusing on these small savings can make you miss the bigger picture. Missing opportunities or even, growing your income. Being strategic, not just cheap. Have you ever been there? Choosing a small saving over a potentially bigger win later.
Yeah, I've definitely been there. It's easy to get caught up in saving a few bucks. But zooming out like that makes you think about the other side of things investing. That's where part 2 of Just Keep Buying comes in.
And it kicks off with this big idea, right? Most stock markets actually go up most of the time.
Now, you got to back that up because with all the craziness we hear about, that just sounds impossible.
It's true, though. Even with crashes and recessions, the big picture is growth. McGillie talks about Warren Buffett. Remember, Buffett said the Dow went from 66 to over 11,000 throughout the 20th century. Wars, depressions, all that chaos, and still.
So what's the takeaway for regular investors like me? Just hold on tight and hope for the best.
Well, it's a little more than that, but that main idea is solid. One thing people do is averaging in, investing slowly to soften the blow of those market swings. But get this, McGillie's data says that buying now, putting in a lump sum when you've got it, often beats averaging in.
Really? That feels counterintuitive, Doesn't averaging in protect you if the market takes a dive?
That's the thinking, yeah. But waiting means you might miss out on the upswings, too. Think about March 2020, that COVID crash. Scary time to invest, right? But those who did, even though it felt risky, their recovery was way faster than those who waited it out.
Hindsight is 20/20, but still hard to imagine taking that leap when everyone's panicking.
Exactly, and that's why the book says, don't try to be a hero, timing the market. Even if you think you've found the perfect dip, it's so hard to get it right, even the pros mess it up. McGillie actually looks at times when that whole buy the dip thing totally backfired compared to just, buying and holding steady.
Okay, so we shouldn't try to be market wizards. What should we be doing instead?
2 big things, McGillie says. Diversifying and managing your spending.
So not putting all our eggs in one basket. Spreading out those investments.
Yep. And not just stocks either. Building multiple income streams is key. He talks about REITs, basically investing in real estate without actually buying property, farmland, royalties, even making and selling your own stuff. More income streams, the less you depend on any single one, makes you more resilient, when the market goes down.
Starting to see how it all connects, it's a bigger picture approach.
Exactly. And it's not just about the money, but how you use your time, too. There's this amazing story he tells about Dashrath Manji called The Mountain Man of India.
Wait, the guy who carved a path through a mountain by himself?
That's the one. 22 years he spent chipping away at this mountain. He couldn't afford the medical help his wife needed, couldn't buy his way out, so he invested his time instead.
That's an intense story.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us aren't, carving mountains.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway there?
Time is valuable, right? Sometimes how you invest your time in your career, a side hustle, learning new skills, those returns, they can be just as big or even bigger than financial stuff.
Talk about putting things into perspective. We always think about investments, the money part. But time, that's valuable too.
Totally. And just like with your money, you got to be smart about how you spend your time. Make it count.
So it's not just what you earn, but how you use your time to make more, build a life you actually want.
Exactly. And speaking of making more, remember those different income streams we talked about? McGillie had that interesting bit about royalties.
Oh, yeah. That one caught my attention. How does that even work? It's like buying a piece of a song's earnings or something.
Pretty much. Betting on it staying popular. McGillie even brings up the Lindy effect here. Basically, the longer something's been around, the longer it'll probably last. Think about classic songs, books, those things that have been big for decades.
So investing in, say, a song from the 50s is a safer bet than the latest hit.
That's the general idea. Nothing's ever guaranteed or right. But it shows you how to think outside the box with income. Totally different markets.
Building a safety net from all these different places your income comes from. Love it.
Right. And as much as we talk about being financially secure, just keep buying goes deeper than that. It asks, even if you hit all your money goals, become a millionaire even, will it make you feel rich?
Whoa. Deep question.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the numbers, but is it really all about the money at the end of the day?
That's what McGillie makes you think about. He says we compare ourselves to others a lot. There's always someone with a bigger house, a nicer car, fancier vacation, never ends.
Keeping up with the Joneses gets exhausting.
For sure. So you could hit a certain net worth, but still feel like it's not enough.
What's the answer then? How do you get off that treadmill and figure out what wealth really means to you?
That's what McGillie leaves us with. This book, it's more than just piling up money. It's about your goals, what truly makes you happy. Using your time and money to build a life that feels rich in every way.
That's powerful. Wealth is about more than what's in your bank account. Finding joy, having a purpose, connecting with people.
Exactly. A life where you're free to follow your passions, spend time with people you love, maybe even make a difference in the world. Money just helps you get there.
Well, this has been eye-opening. We've covered so much, from practical saving and investing tips to really big questions about what it all means. Hope you got a lot out of it.
Totally. Keep thinking about these ideas and figure out what just keep buying means to you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building that rich life.